before. It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way.
All right, good morning, good morning. How's everybody today? Let me just do a quick audio check here. Be right back. All right, seems reasonable. No, wait. There we go, that's better. Let's see here. All right. Looks like we're selling off here a bit. We got the apex on the left, 3 minute. Top step on the right, 2 minute or 1 minute. Just waiting for this 3 o'clock hour to come. See what we're getting right now. Looks kind of like a market structure shift down to the downside here. So let's give it a few minutes and see where that leads us. We've not cleared this fair value gap on the bottom side yet. Kind of zoom out here on the larger time frames and see what the potential is. We've already swept the lows tonight, so we created a new low. Let's see where we opened up at yesterday, or 6 p.m. No, 15,244. Kind of double top there. Kind of got a double top here, looking relatively equalize. So we swept the high, came down, swept the low, went even lower. So it almost seemed logical that it's probably going to come up here to sweep these highs next. So we'll give it a second and see what happens, but that seems the most logical thing. But the most logical is not always what you get. Just going to be looking for base hits today. He's got today one contract. Little base hits here, no home runs, nothing like that. Let's see what we get here. Let's see. 44. Trying to see where we're at on the ES here. 44.42. Yeah. All right, we just crossed over into the 3 o'clock hour here. Kind of got a structure shift to the downside here on the 3-minute chart and on the 1-minute chart. So might be coming to take out these lows again.
Order filled.
We'll go ahead and participate short here. Just looking for it to sweep these lows. Seeming like that's what it wants to do. Stop's going to be at break even here. I'd like to get a push on down here, possibly a little further. I'm going to go ahead and lock in our 5 handles here. So can't lose. I'm going to see if this can move on down further here, maybe into this 15,200 range.
Order filled.
Oh, it caught us over there. That's all right. I'm going to kind of see if we can't get this push on down over here a little further. Tried to drop it there, but it didn't let me. And we're locking in $100 here, so there we go. Now we unlock in the 200.
Stop filled.
There we go. And we may move on down into that 15,200 level, but that's just a nice, easy sort of momentum trade there, to be honest with you. This shift in structure to the downside here, and then on this very first candle, we traded back up into it. Could have got short there at 15,229, but I kind of hesitated since we were right there at 3 o'clock. But then it became pretty obvious that we're going to kind of sweep these lows here. So like that, nice easy trade to kind of start the morning off. $200 on each account. Can't complain about that. So let's see if we start moving back up to the upside here, potentially go take out these highs since we swept the lows first. Nothing like waking up at 2:45 and by 3:05 got all the money bagged. Nothing like that. Can't complain. Cannot complain about that at all. And this could, you know, potentially sell off more. You know, you did have a nice shift to the downside here. We trading back up into the gap here for a potential sell off more, but ideally I'd like for this to go back and kind of take the highs, offer us an opportunity back to the upside. So let's just be patient, see what we get, see what the market offers us. Looks like that's going to be a big wick to the downside there on the 15-minute. Looks pretty weak as far as strength to the downside goes. So far anyway. Still early in that candle. So it could still fill it up there. So what we'd like to see is for this 1 minute to kind of pierce this VWAP, break this swing high here, and then possibly trade back into a gap or some sort of order block for this move up into the 60s. That'd be nice. Get a little 20 or 30 point mover to the upside. Would kind of be ideal. Let's see here. See if there's, I'm just looking to see if there's any reason that might not happen. We did approach a pivot here at 44.38 on the ES. Of course, I don't have the ES pulled up, but you can see, we can look at it here. 44.38 is a pivot. So we failed to break through that pivot and hold it. Kind of bounced off that pivot area. So kind of bouncing out of there, leaving a bit of a volume imbalance here on the 3-minute chart. Probably want to come back and clean that up at some point. Like I said, ideally we bounce out of here, maybe clear the 20 SMA at least, or somewhere into this area, into the 30, 15-230, and then maybe we revisit down here before blasting out of there. Maybe offer us an entry. Long, potentially. At least that's the potential setup. You don't always get what you want, but that's all right. We'll see what happens. See if we can't capitalize and if it gives us what we're asking for here. You may ask yourself, well, how come you just don't go ahead and jump in if you think it's going to go here? Well, that's not the setup. Silver bullet setup is we get a structure shift to the upside, we trade back into a PD array, whether that's an order block, fair value gap, whatever you're using, and then you ride it. You ride it to the next potential liquidity, which your first target would be here, second target here. So that's what we're looking for here. As you can see here, we're getting this structure shift to the upside that we were thinking of there on the 1 minute chart. We'd like to see it pierce the 31 level, and that will do it on both. We'll have a structure shift at that point, possibly leaving us a gap here for this move on to the upside. And like I said, we're taking base hits today. So $200 per trade. Hey, I'm going to be happy with that. You can see, like, when I first got filled here, you'd say, oh, man, you got filled too soon. But in reality, no, that's pretty much a bottom tick. When I was over here watching the ES, seeing it approaching the pivot, knowing that this is a possible reversal zone. So I didn't want to shoot for too much there. Just want to kind of take the low-hanging fruit, if you will, and go from there. So technically we did get the shift on the 1 minute here, and now it's kind of trading back into this. I guess we could put our entry down here at the 15. That's ideally where we'd like to see it trade into. Like to see it trade back into that 15. It may not make it that far, but was we don't actually have an established gap yet on the 3-minute chart. You don't have to have one, but it's nice to kind of have that extra confluence on the 3-minute and the 1 minute kind of together there. So we got about another minute. We have created a gap on the 2-minute chart here that it's about to trade back into. Did it quite make it there? Let me look. I didn't quite make it there. That's at 21.50. So we also have a volume imbalance on the 2-minute chart down at 16.75. So I don't think I'm going to take this entry just yet. This might be me missing it, though, to be honest. Because this technically is a structure shift to the upside, and we're kind of trading right back into it. But I don't want to be too aggressive here. I want to wait, potentially get this trade back into this 16.75 area, which would put this back into this kind of first gap. That also would reduce our risk. I mean, if we're getting long at, potentially 16.75, then we're only risking basically 8 handles here for this move up. Something like that. 16.50. Something along those lines is what I'm looking at. And we'll target, 41.50 would be a nice target. So let's see if we get filled here. Now, of course, this could just be a pushback up on this into this order block to take a short back down to these lows again. It's always a possibility. Because let me look here. Let me see here if I like this or not. Don't really have a shift on the 3-minute yet. We only have the shift really on the 1 minute. All right, so I think I'm going to take this off. Since we've only got the structure shift on the 1 minute here, I mean, I don't consider this a structure shift until we clear the 31. And since we do have this order block here and we traded right into it, this leads me to believe this might just be a move back down to take out this low a day again. So let me wait. And if I'm wrong, that's completely fine. Not going to be mad about it. But this easily could come down. This is not, to me, enough of a shift. We didn't even leave a gap here. Now we do have this, this fair value, or this volume imbalance here. So you can see we traded right back to 16.75. Still didn't repaint this imbalance, and we're kind of moving up. So I don't see how this leaves that. Now that I'm looking at this, that would have been a decent entry right there off that order block. I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you. So you could have got short at 27. Had a nice little quick move down to 17 for 10 quick handles there. But, on the 1 minute chart, we did trade right back into an imbalance. We didn't fill it. And this may be one of those imbalances where you don't want it to fill it in. I'm not super familiar with those, or what constitutes one that you want to have filled in versus ones that you don't. So I'm not sure. So we could have just missed our entry there basically by 1 tick. On the 2 minute chart, we would have been getting long from the 21. We would have taken 5 handles of drawdown there. But that's all right. you're not going to hit them all, right? And I'm perfectly fine with missing that if that's what ends up happening there. It is, if this is your first time joining me, it is 2 a.m. here in Georgia. I'm in Georgia, United States. Or, I'm sorry, 3 a.m. You never know what time it is. And I do trade the London Open 5 days a week. 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., somewhere in there. And then also trade the New York Open 9:30 a.m., 9:20 a.m. I start. At least until 11. Usually I'll trade a little longer than that. So, as you can see here, we didn't quite make it back up there. We bounced out of there, but it's kind of trading back into it. Now, this is going to be one of those, in hindsight, where you're going to be like, oh, this was so clear this was a long, right? Or whatever. Or possibly a short. Structure shift to the downside, trade back up into an order block, boom, for this move to the lows. But in real time, you can make an argument for both sides here. You got a volume imbalance. This did not quite shift in structure on the 1 minute, on the 3 minute. Wanted to see a move into the 30. Now, shift in structure on the 1 minute's a little different. You can have a shift in structure, but it's not as strong. So I reevaluated this and thought that this is probably going to come and take this low. If it continues lower, then we know this was the silver bullet entry and we simply missed it, right? Structure shift to the downside, volume imbalance, trade back up into the order block. Boom. So after kind of reevaluating, that's kind of what I was saying. I don't want to guarantee anything, but I think this is coming for this low. And it may not. We could be wrong. But when you can make an argument for both sides here, that's when you want to kind of take a step back, be careful. Even though I already put my orders on the book at that point, I was like not 100% sure. My thought process was, okay, it'll repaint this imbalance. So if I put my long position here at 16.50, repaints the imbalance, tags me in, and then continues higher. Still could do that, but I can make an argument for this move lower as well. So, and we've already locked in $200. And if you're unfamiliar with how I operate, my goal for the London session is $300 per account. So we're 2/3 of the way there already. So if we can find another entry, we'll lock in 100 as quickly as we can to kind of secure our goal and see how high it can go. And then we'll come back in the New York session and see if we can add to it a little bit there. That's the goal anyway. That would be the goal. And there we go. It filled the volume imbalance. Now it's attempting to bounce out of there. This is attempting to push the button as well, right? But I just noticed. I was thinking this was top step, and this was step 2 of. I'm sorry. This is apex. I thought usually I have top step on this side and apex on this side. I guess I mixed them up tonight. Not that it really matters. All right, just as I kind of suspected, this is coming for this low. So what does that tell me? This was the silver bullet setup here. Market structure shift to the downside. We took the shift for a trade. Trades back up into it. Did not get quite the shift to the upside that we wanted at the 31.52. We could have even taken 30 because of that swing high there. And now coming back down to take the lows. So I did not recognize this entry. That could come with not trading for what? Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's been 3 full days since I've traded. So I'm a little rusty there. Could be a little rust. A little rust developing. Who knows? So kind of created another order block here. Don't know if this will be respected though with another imbalance. You know, that's the imbalance that it painted through earlier. Still wouldn't have stopped us out here just yet. So this is not a guarantee that it's going to come take this out, because our stop would have been at 0825, just below these lows. But my feeling is that that's what's probably going to happen. That's my gut anyway. The ES actually looking quite a bit stronger. Let's pull over to the ES right quick. I mean, it's looking quite a bit stronger here. So maybe this doesn't take the lows. Maybe this does bounce out of here, because the ES is not near as weak, and it's hasn't quite shifted to the upside yet, but is very, very close. So this actually might bounce out of here. Very interesting here. Do we take the entry based on what the ES is doing? Is the question. Because ES looking stronger here than the NQ for sure. So is this going to bring the NQ with it here? I think it might. So I may take this entry just only on the Apex account here. We have very small risk at this point. We're risking 6 handles or so if I take the entry now. But I'm going to wait here for a moment. Because the ES did not shift to the upside yet, although it's very close. And this is, if you're not watching the ES while you're trading here, you need to be watching both indices, because, you know, this can give you an idea if the ES is stronger. So the ES made a low, but it bounced out of there, and it's, you know, quite a bit stronger here. You can see NAS made the new low, and it bounced out, but then it's just so. So I almost want to take this long here based on what the ES is doing. Now, it doesn't mean that the NQ won't come and sweep this low, because it might. But we can be a little more aggressive on the Apex account. Yeah. All right, we're going to take the entry long here. I should have hit it down here, but I didn't. So that's okay. So our original assessment appears to this point to have been correct. And that's the thing, you know, when I can make an argument for both sides. So now my entry's at 21, really should have been at 1650. But that's okay. Based on the strength of the ES here, this still should go pretty good. And like I said, our goal for the day is going to be $300 during this session. So if we get up $100 on this trade, we're going to go ahead and lock it in to break even. And then once we reach $200, we'll lock in 100. Kind of go from there. Possibly just targeting these swing highs for the full trade there. All right, we're going to go to stone cold break even. Well, I want to see it push through the 26 here, and then I'll drop it. But haven't dropped it yet, guys. So just holding it here, waiting for this to get through the 26 strong. Do hate that we're about 5 handles higher than we should be here, but that's okay. Once I kind of saw how strong the ES was there, I should have just jumped on in, but I hesitated. Hesitated a bit there. It may end up costing us on this trade. We may go in the red here if this fails, but because in order to have our stop where we really need it, I mean, we're now risking 14-ish handles instead of just, 4 or 5 if I would have hit the button in the 14 area there. I guess we still would have been risking 6 or 7, but I waited for it to kind of blast out of there a bit before I hit the buy button. So, yeah, it's kind of having a little pullback here. It approached the VWAP there on the 3-minute chart, so it may take it a second to get through there before it takes us on up with it. Needed to get through that VWAP strong there. VWAP at the 43 on the ES 3-minute chart. So get the ES pushing through the 43, 44 level here. Should take the NQ on up with it there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Like I said, if we would got the best entry, at least at the 1650 area where I originally had my order, we'd be up 5 handles already. But as it is, we took a worst entry, and yeah, did wait for a bit of confirmation, if you will. I mean, sometimes in trading, that's what you do. You wait for a bit of confirmation that the move's going to go in the direction that you think it is. So, all right, now 2175, we will lock in $40. Can't lose. So can't lose on it here. Let's see here. ES still pushing here, trying to approach that 44 level. And I almost just want to go ahead and lock in the $300, to be honest with you, for the day. But I'm going to wait and see kind of how this reacts. We'll drop it if we get above $200 here and profit. If we don't, we'll leave it at 40. Yes, moving up nice and strong there. Still going. This is on the Apex account. That's why I'm going to be moving my stop a little quicker than I may normally move it if it was just on the top step. Because of that drawdown, we want to give too much back. I'd like to get the full trade here, don't get me wrong though. See if we can get through this VWAP strong here. So we're locking in $100 right there. If it comes back, I may move it, but I would like to see it hold this 20 SMA. So I think it's in a decent spot. This guarantees us $500 in profit on this session. Still with the potential to move on through the 41s here. And what we may do is we may move our target a little higher as we go. Because this is the open and this is the swing. So that's your first, that'd be our first target there. Getting through the VWAP here on the 3-minute chart from the NAS. Want to get through there. If we can just get through there strong would be super nice. But ES is kind of approaching. Just kind of looking at the 5-minute chart on the ES. Let's see here. If we can get through here strong, let's get through this. Let's get through the VWAP strong here and just continue up. I don't see a reason why the ES would kind of slow down here. But again, I'm trailing this up kind of tighter than I would normally. So if we get stopped out here, it'll feel bad, but I'll be okay with it. Because again, we're locking in our profit for the day on this one account. So, well, not for the day, but for this session. But looking for more. Ideally, we get this push strong through the VWAP here and just continue up. Like I said, if we get to the 41s, that's $400. May move it on up to 49, just below the 50 level. If we continue higher here, nice and strong, want to be aware that we got that buy side liquidity sitting there. So if we can maintain this VWAP here, we'll go ahead and move this up. ES still showing no signs of really slowing down just yet. But if we move above the 38 here, then I think we'll go ahead and move our target up a bit. Don't want to be too aggressive though with this with moving this up. This is kind of the fine line in trading. You don't want to move your stop up too fast. You don't want to move your target too high. But at the same time, you want to keep those in logical areas. But at the same time, you don't want to stop yourself out and then this thing just blast higher. I'd like for this thing to move through the VWAP strong here. Kind of rejected the VWAP right now. Hasn't really gotten through there nice and strong yet. I want to kind of move my stop up to 29, but that's only $60 more. So what does that really gain me, right? So let's just leave it here. At $100, it really is too close. But since it's the Apex account, we're going to stick with this kind of trailing strategy here. So I want this thing just to blast right through the VWAP and keep going. And at that point, we can move our stop to just below the VWAP. And we may just go ahead and do that. Move our stop just below the VWAP. There. I'm moving it too soon, guys. I already know I am, but this doesn't, it's came back to the VWAP twice here, almost 3 times. So I'd like for it to not revisit the VWAP and just make it to my target. So locking in whatever that is, 12 handles, $220. Still got our target up there at $400. Let's see if we can make it through there. All right, making it through 38. So we're going to move this target up a bit. And again, I'm trailing this very, very tight, guys. I know that I am. But I'm okay if I get stopped out. I'm not 100%. 100%, I'm fine with it. It's kind of leaving an imbalance here, which, to be honest, I'm not in love with that. With my stop as close as it is. Because it will probably come back to try to repaint that imbalance there. But let's watch it to see what happens here. Feels bad that I didn't take this on the Top Step account too, but hey, it is what it is, right? All right, we're approaching this liquidity, which could kind of be a turnaround point, if you will. So let's see, what are we locking in here? That's 14. 15 handles there is $300 we're locking in. And again, I'm aware that I'm trailing this a little too tight, but that's okay. We're up here to where it could turn around, and I don't want it to turn around on me. Let's move our target on up a little more here. So at this point, we're going to lock in our original target. $400. We might get stopped out up here, but I'm completely okay with that. If it just continues higher, then
Stop filled.
Then that's fine too. So we got our full trade there, $400. Can kind of see our entry, not a great entry. Traded the idea, had my order on the book at 1650. So my idea was not a true shift on the 3-minute chart here, but on the 1-minute chart, we did have a structure shift to the upside. We broke this high, traded back down, repainted this imbalance. Okay, that was my idea. Put my entry here at the imbalance. Got a little concerned because we had this order block here, right? So I was like, this could just hit this order block and retrace. So that's why I took it off the book, because I thought that might be what happened. Kind of second guessed myself, if you will. And intuition actually was correct. So, but we went ahead, and once we realized we were gonna be on the right side, we went ahead and took a later entry. Should have had 5 more handles out of this. So this, $390 should have been a bit more. Had a little slippage right there on the fill. I mean, it's not a big deal, 50 cents, but I'm pretty sure I had it at 75 and it filled us at 25. That's okay. But you can see this is kind of a potential turnaround zone. I don't really think on a day like today, night like tonight, whatever, I don't think you're going to get these huge long trades. So 20, 25 handles is kind of what I expected, and that's why I trailed the stop on this. If I was expecting this to go out and take the highs, which it might, then I wouldn't trail the stop so tight. But normally I would trade this with 2 contracts. But like I said, kind of had a bad Friday. Just want to take some base hits sometimes. And so that's what we're looking for here. A little base hit here, a base hit there. That's all you can ask for. So we're up 594 on the Apex account, 205 on the top step. Kind of feels bad I didn't take it on both. But to be honest with you, when I'm not 100% sure in something, I don't want to lose on both. So this kind of move down that we took this morning, I felt fine about that. I felt like this was going to take this swing low. And again, we trailed that one down kind of tight too. Got filled for the $200 on both, and then silver bullet right here. That's the silver bullet setup. Market structure shift to the downside. Or I'm sorry, we shifted to the downside, took out a low. So we took out this swing low. So that's an important low. Sweep of liquidity. Shift back to the upside on the 1-minute chart here. You can see traded all the way back into the first gap or the volume imbalance, whichever one you wanted to take. You could have taken the first gap here at 15. And then this traded all the way up, still going here up into the 45. So that's a 30 handle move. We took 20 handles out of it. I'm okay with that. So this could go higher. This could go to the high of day. This could go all the way to 300. But you can't second guess yourself when it comes to taking profit. You take the profit when it offers it, and then, that allows me to be able to trade the New York session with very little risk. We're already up 600 in this one, 200 in this one. Going to have very little risk when we trade the New York session. We should only be risking maybe $200 a trade. So if we take one entry, if we hit the entry, we make $400. We don't hit the entry, we're back to even on the top step, and we're up $400 on the other one. Simple. This is just showing you guys, you don't have to sit here in front of the computer all day. You can wake up at 2:45 a.m., jump in here, take this silver bullet, go back to bed. $600, go back to bed. Wake up during the New York session, 9:30 to 11. You really could just jump on at 10 if you wanted to. 10 to 11, hit the silver bullet, go back to bed, do whatever you want to do during the day. You know, you don't have to sit in front of the charts all day. It's ridiculous. Doesn't have to be done. This is nice and easy. And that's the way I like it. That's why I kind of like the London session. It's a little slower, but that being said, hey, if you can see the setup's a little clearer, and that's what you excel at, that time frame, then that's what you should do. So I've taken my 2 entries on this account. I give myself 2 entries during the London session. I am not going to take another entry on the Top Step account because I missed the trade here. So I don't think we'll be taking any more entries, but we're going to sit here and wait and see if anything presents itself in the next few minutes and go from there. But there's no real reason to take any more entries at this point, to be honest. No real reason to take anything. Like I said, you take that low-hanging fruit and you kind of go from there. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week of trading. Hopefully, I have a better week. I've set out a couple of more rules that I haven't really been following this last week, and this week we're going to follow these rules to the T. We're not going to, certainly not going to break the rules, and that's kind of what, you know, one of the things I went back and looked at on my trading, and when I break the rules is when I lose. So we're not going to break the rules. We're going to follow the rules. And that's the thing. Like if you notice, a lot of people say, oh, it's crazy to say like, oh, I don't trade Mondays because I always lose on Monday. Well, I don't believe that's crazy. I think that that's perfectly fine. If you feel like you always lose on Monday, I see nothing wrong with not trading Monday, right? Don't trade Monday if you feel like you don't have what it takes to make money on Monday. Well, that's kind of the way I feel when it comes to, trading the hours that I trade. If I sit here all day in front of the computer, I'm going to make trades that I shouldn't be making. And, that's going to cause me to lose money. So what I've noticed is when we're in a trendy market, when the market's just going straight up, it's very easy to make money 9:30 to 10 a.m. because you just kind of just jump in and you let it go, right? You jump in and you let it go. But when we're in a market that's not that trendy, and that happens more often than not, very difficult for me to make money. So what should I do? Should we trade 9:30 to 10 a.m. if we're making money 30% of the time during those hours? No. Makes no sense. And in large part, that's what happened last week. I would be down $800, $1,000 in the first 30 minutes. And then I look for the silver bullet setup between 10 and 11. And I would hammer the setup. I mean, I'd take it with 2 contracts. I'd be up $1,000, $1,200. But what did it do? It got me back to even from the losses that I took from 9:30 to 10. So this week, new rule, not going to take any entries between 9:30 and 10 unless it just makes sense, unless it's something similar to this where it's pretty clear that price action is taking you to a certain level, right? If it's something like that, you can take it. But so I'm not handcuffing myself and saying absolutely no trades between 9:30 and 10. That's the idea. But if price is taking you to a certain area and you can have a relatively risk-free trade, then that entry is okay. But taking that first, second, third, fourth candle straight out of the open on the 1 minute or 3 minute chart doesn't make any sense to do that. I mean, I don't care if the thing goes to the moon. I need to sit here because I do not do well on those particular plays. And a lot of the reason is because of the volatility. what happens typically at open? That first candle's a huge candle. Second candle continues up. What I normally would do is wait for confirmation. So I would probably buy as it broke this high, this swing high, right? So I'd buy here. Well, then my stop has to be all the way down here for this trade to make sense, right? 14, 15 handles to the downside, but I have my stop at 10. So what happens? It'll go up, come back down, stop me out, and then continue higher. So the risk that you have to take on those opening candles does not match up with my risk to reward and what I'm really willing to risk. I just got a 2-to-1 here. So I'm risking $200 for a $400 trade. That's how mine is set up. Now here I just took $200, but that was because this is just a momentum play. It was pretty clear it was going to take this. But in a normal scenario, I'm looking for just a 2-to-1 risk to reward. And if you can get 2-to-1, you know, you're doing pretty decent. So just doesn't make sense for me to trade 9:30 to 10 a.m. So this week, that's what we're going to be concentrating on. No trades between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Look for the silver bullet between 10 and 11. I get one shot at it. If I miss it, I miss it. I'm not going to take it. I won't take an entry. So no entry if you miss the silver bullet. So for example, here, I mean, I outlined it, misread it, thinking, hey, it's going to go take these lows. Because what happened last week, I had a couple of nights where I did just this. I jumped in wholeheartedly. I was like, oh, this is it. Jump in, boom. And then after the fact, I'm like, oops, I didn't see that, right? But I didn't take the order off the book then, and it ended up costing me, and it taking me out for a loss. And I had 2 or 3 contracts on at a time, and so then I'm down $500-$600 going into the New York session, and you're behind the 8 ball for the day. So not today. Today feels good. It would be feeling even better if we had, 600 in each account, but you didn't press the button. If you don't press the button, you can't reap the rewards, right? If you're not putting in the risk, you can't have the reward there. So quite all right. Bouncing off the VWAP there, kind of traded back into this gap. Bounced right off the VWAP. Held that VWAP at 33. Bouncing out of there, back to the open almost. I mean, this could continue higher. I just don't have any interest in the risk. I want to lock in my profits. This should have been 25 handles. Could have even been more than that. Could have been 30 if I would have hit the button down here, but I did not. This is, at this moment, 3:24 a.m. is when I kind of realized on the ES that the ES was a lot stronger than the NAS. I mean, you can look here. I switched over to the ES somewhere in here, and I was like, wait a second. ES is looking pretty strong here. You can just see the difference in the two. So if you watch both, usually one is going to lag the other a little bit. ICT, I guess, calls that the Six Sister effect. So in this instance, the NQ was kind of the Six Sister. Then the ES is making this move out of here. Again, you're not, the reason I don't trade the ES all that much, of course, this is, I'm not even looking at the ES here. What the hell am I talking about? But anyways, here we go. There we go. You can see the much stronger move on the ES. So it's just kind of straight out of here. Just, and then eventually, so this, at this point, 324, 321 candle, you can come over here and look. ES is breaking through the VWAP there. So at that point, I decided to take the long, and you can just see the ES fire out of there. But the reason why I'm not taking trades on the ES, just because even though this is nice, strong move, what's your entry here? Here's your order block. So it kind of trades right back into the midpoint of the order block, a little above the midpoint, right? So your entry would be here, 38. It's traded all the way up to 47, so 9 handles on the ES is about $450. So it just, I don't know. It just seems so much slower to me, even though I know it's not. Really, it's not. $50 a point kind of makes up for it. But let's look at this 3-minute chart on the ES, see if it looks any different here. See if things are a little more clear on the 3-minute chart here, because the 1-minute chart's a little muddy there, but 3-minute, I mean, there's no fair value gap really to speak of. You do have an order block here. You know, does it trade back into that order block? Yeah, it does. So it leaves the order block, trades right back into it. The body of the candle respects the midpoint of the order block, and it just bloop, blasts right out of there. So easy to see in hindsight, but you can see this 3-minute chart, ES looks a lot stronger there. You just don't have the pullback that you got on the NAS there. But there's something to be aware of there. And that kind of gave me the idea to have confidence in this move, right? If I had been looking at the ES a little earlier there, if I'd have paid attention, I would have saw that move to the downside looked weak, especially if we look at that. Let's just take a look at the ES 5-minute chart here. Check this out. So you got this move to the downside, wick, green candle to the upside, and then you just have 2 wick candles. So that tells you that this move to the downside is not, it doesn't have any power, right? It's not going to continue to the downside because this kind of, it tried to go up, came back down, you know, went back up, just closed at 0 basically. So you have back-to-back 5-minute candles there. This shows, you know, strength. This wants to move up. But again, easy to kind of see in hindsight there, but real time, a little bit more difficult to pay attention to. Now you can see we're basing above the VWAP here, holding the VWAP nicely. But do we want to participate, you know, in this high resistance, you know, liquidity run that we got going on here? No, not in my opinion. I want to take my money out of the market here. I want to be at risk as little amount of time as possible. So, you know, I want to get my money in and get my money out as quickly as we can, right? We don't want to keep our money at risk any longer than we have to. So, well, we're coming up on 3:52, so I've been live here for about an hour. I don't see myself taking any more entries because it just doesn't make sense to. So we're going to go ahead and end the live stream here. We'll be back live at 9:20 a.m. this morning to trade the New York Open and see if we can't add a little extra money to the bank here. Again, on the left side here, we have the Apex Challenge account. We're up $594. The Top Step account, we're up $205. So that puts the Top Step account at $50,839. So we need about $2,160 more dollars. And then it puts the other account at $50,594 because I just started that today. So if you guys haven't already, like the video, subscribe.